Hey everybody, welcome back to Brick System Brothers. My name is Nathan Masters, and I wanted to talk about a new website, a new tool. It's not super new, but it's directly related to one of our new themes from this year called LEGO Art. And if you're thinking, wait a minute, LEGO Art didn't put out a Mario mosaic, you are correct. This is a fan design, but the final product over here actually looks very close to the product that LEGO put out, where we saw our Iron Man design and the Beatles. So those final designs are the official LEGO sets, and I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, I know I was, oh, it wouldn't be super difficult to design your own LEGO art, right? I mean, it's just converting an image into a pixelated image and then kind of rounding that off. In fact, the hardest step of the process would actually be changing the image into tiles in colors that LEGO actually produces, because even when you have a pixelated image, there's a lot of color gradient in there, and you have to scale that back to a few simple colors. So this is an article from the Brothers Brick all about a site that can do this, and yeah, we owe all of this to Dave Banerjee, I think that's how you say his name, who designed the site. And the article here on Brothers Brick is just talking about testing it out, and it gives a few overall tips on how to use it. But instead of working through all of this, I think the best way to learn, oh yeah, here's Dave. Thanks, Dave. Let's just go and check it out and see what we can do. So yeah, really simple interface. You can go check out the About page if you want, but there's really nothing to it. So for this video introduction, I'm just going to do the LEGO logo that we know and love, and boom, there you go. At its very basics, it's going to scale it down, adjust your color, convert it into dots, and then based on your inventory presets, it will actually change that over to a final product. So yeah, as you can see, the first two steps went really well. I mean, that looks like our classic LEGO logo. The third step, the actual size of the dots look good, but the colors do not. And this is where you're going to have to do the most work to get a good picture. The default of the site is based on the colors available in our official LEGO dots set. So black, dark gray, this lighter blue color, yellow, pink, and then two shades of like a pink or a magenta. So these are the existing color tiles from the Marilyn Monroe set. At least they might have used another dots set, but this is the default. So it's pretty easy to change, but you're gonna have to do it for every new design that needs more colors than what is available here. So that's probably one of the biggest obstacles to actually getting a final product. And it's not even that much of an obstacle because it's pretty easy to fix, but I would like to see at some point in the future maybe a different default just for getting started. So let's fix these colors and see what we can come up with. First thing I'm going to do is change this blue to white so that we have a white. And now we're using white here on the middle, on the inside. Let's change this dark pink to our classic red, and that will change that over to red. And just by doing those two things, it's already made a huge difference on the overall appearance. Let's go ahead and get rid of this other pink and use a light bluish gray. I'm trying to stick to colors that are mostly available as 1x1 round studs. You're probably not going to find this many 1x1 round tiles, but studs look pretty much just as good. So at this point, we just have a few stragglers here around the edges of the letters. And to get rid of those, I can actually just delete this other pink one, and now it's just light and dark gray. Depending on how particular you are about color gradients, this would be pretty good. We can also make minor adjustments here to get rid of that. We can uncheck this box to get rid of it a little more, and overall that's a pretty good image. If we just wanted to have red, yellow, black, and white, we could go ahead and take out the grays and see what that does. And there's completely 4 main color groups, but there is still a little bit of yellow getting in there. I don't really like that. What happens if we put the value back down. That fixes it a little bit. It's probably going to be better looking in the long run just to have that light gray in there to take care of that. Okay, pretty happy with that. Let's get a little more yellow going around the outside. And recheck this box. Okay, let's call that good for our design. Now to get the final fourth step, we need to adjust these values in here. And it's actually not as crucial to have the right number in here because it will calculate automatically. This is just a way to say this is how many you have available. So even if you don't have this many, I'm going to go ahead and max it out just so that we don't run into any problems. Alright, so let's look and see what that did. Available studs will add up all of these numbers here, so almost 50,000 available studs. It's only going to take 2,300 studs to build this design. Most of them are red, and then there's a black border. The white is used for the letters and a few in yellow. And to get those exact numbers, we can export selected studs, and that will put it in this type of file in whatever folder you want. But I think the most useful tool to get your final design is just to generate the PDF instructions. So that'll take a couple seconds depending on how big your project is and the different colors that you choose, but it goes pretty quickly. We'll save that here, open this up and see what we get. Lego Art Remix, resolution 48 by 48. So this is your size and studs. And then the other thing it does is breaks it down to 16 by 16 squares. And this is the baseline for Lego Art. So these 16 by 16 stud squares is what we already have. There's already like that base brick with those Technic connections, and that's what you're going to be building in sections. And then we can see over here that we have 386 black, 396 white, 171 yellow, 1,304 red, and 47 light gray. And depending on how satisfied you are with how it chose those colors, you can go in and manually readjust those. But this would actually be a pretty decent design to do, because if you decided to go with 1x1 studs, there's definitely an abundance in these colors that wouldn't be too hard to track down. It's going to cost a little bit because 1,304 multiplied by anything, like even if these were a cent each, that's still $13 worth of studs just for the red. So just by our sheer volume of pieces here, it is going to be a little bit of a cost, but by using 1x1 studs, you could actually keep that pretty cheap compared to, like, the official Lego Art is selling for, what is it, like 120 piece? I don't remember. It's a lot of money. Granted, those are really nice colors in those as well. So yeah, this is just representative of what the official Lego Art instructions do. It shows you the 16 by 16 square. Let's zoom out a little bit here. And then it shows each position on the square, which color you're going to need. And then each step is also broken down by quantity, so you could count out each one of these colors how many you need. The Lego logo design is pretty straightforward. You might not even need these kind of instructions, but it is nice to have it broken down by the square. So you'll build 9 of these in total, and then this is where I was saying if you want to make small adjustments, like this red I would change into a yellow just so that we don't have these gaps in here. And maybe some of these light gray I'd change over to white. So you can do that for each square as you're building it. In total you'll build 9, and then the instructions just show how to build each individual square. You'll probably need to grab some Technic pins to put it all together. You could even use plates to hold it together on the back, but this is the gist of the program. And yeah, within 5 minutes built a pretty decent Lego mosaic. So again, huge shout out to Dabe for putting this together and making it available. And I also want to shout out to the Brothers Brick for making a really nice write-up about how to use it. There's some good tips down here at the end, where, you know, the idea to put in the max number I got from them. Light editing of images. The Lego logo is actually, it lends itself really well to being converted into a mosaic, so hardly had to do any editing. But if you're doing other pictures, one of the techniques that they talked about here was on this Batman. The guy who wrote the article went ahead and took out this background noise so that it was all a plain background in the back, and then that actually makes a really nice final product. This one is looking like our Iron Man a little bit, where we have that gradient in the background. It's not just a plain background, you actually have a design back there. So really nice looking results from this. It does require a little bit of tweaking, but that user element of having a visual cue to know what to look for, that's actually the hardest part for the computer to do. So the hard part for us would be deciding which colors that we would need, and then getting that count. The computer's making all that work really easy, but we're the visual input. Whoever is using it is the visual input, and that's the part that's harder for the computer to do. So making these slight adjustments to the coloration and the things that are going to change how it looks overall. Here's maybe a little bit of a better one with the letters more defined. So I would encourage you guys to play with this and check it out, especially if you have a bunch of 1x1 studs and you've been thinking, hey, I want to make a mosaic. Really all there is to it is choosing a picture. If it's not square, you want to keep in mind that these are increments of 16 by 16 studs. So the slider will let you change that in those increments. So that aspect ratio, you just need to keep in mind, needs to match increments of 16, or a 1-to-1 if you reduce it. But it's not just any old size of a picture. You will have to do a little bit of cropping, because only certain aspect ratios can be accommodated by the existing grid. So keep that in mind if you're not going to use a perfect square. The square is definitely the easiest way to go, and you can just do multiples of that grid. So this one is 3 times 16, so 64. No, that's 4 times 16. Math. Stay in school, kids, and someday you could be this guy. So cool. That's all I got for today. I am going to do, I don't know if you guys saw in my folder, I have some other logos that I'm going to look at. Old Johnny Thunder, Superman, Blacktron, and the Classic Space. I'm going to make each of these in this program, this Lego Art Remix, and see what we can do. So those are coming up. Stick around. But yeah, just an introduction to this one, using this, and really the capabilities here. You can start making your own Lego art. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time on Brick System Brothers.